Alright, hello there, YouTube. So this is Philip. Call me Phil, whatever. Kind of transitioning the channel. I tried using a couple other channels to do gaming stuff and kind of fell in and out of it. This one I want to just take my time and do things as I get data and pull video together, maybe actually do editing. Try to usually avoid it. Um, but the goal is, as the channel's name says, surviving in New Hampshire. Um, some of the stuff might focus around just life in general, like the daily life you'll see here at the intro page here. Um, might apply to some places, but some places are going to have different laws, different programs, accessibilities, and stuff, so some of it might not apply. And then for the SHTF stuff, for kind of like Doomsday prepping stuff, that's going to be purely focused for New Hampshire. Again, some of the skills you might be able to apply in other locations. I'd assume like Maine may be fairly similar. Winters are probably a lot rougher, but that's kind of the idea for the channel. I do have kind of this normal like monotone voice, and I've been told I should try to get away from it, but it doesn't usually happen. So if you're a little bored already, just keep in mind I am purely based on like statistics and a little bit monotone when I kind of analyze things. And if I can go to the next tab. So about me, kind of just random family man. Father, husband, grew up in New Hampshire, spent 7 years in California, moved back here, kind of experienced living on my own a bit, and I put living on my own in quotations there because really I was living with my best friend and his brother and sister, and we all had to rent an apartment in California because it's way too damn expensive. Um, for the kind of doomsday prepping stuff, always been interested in it, camped a lot of my life, so I kind of have an idea of how it is to live outdoors. Um, Never been hunting, but I want to. But I do have a little bit of a background in just outdoors and enjoying a lot of that stuff. And that's kind of the goal of the channel, again, is to kind of get myself back into that outdoor life. The whole living on my own thing is going to go to that daily life aspect of the channel, where kind of go over the things that I've learned over the years. I am 30 years old, so don't have a whole lifetime of experience to give away, but some of the stuff I've picked up along the way might be bound to help somebody who's maybe not picked that up. For example, well, I'll get to it a little bit later, but for example, I'm going to make a spreadsheet that people can try to download and analyze their finances and stuff like that, try to see where they're spending most of their money, if it is normal or not, where they could cut back. Again, goals of the channels, kind of document my experience with doomsday prepping, and a lot of people might kind of roll their eyes at that, but I think it's mostly fun. Some of the doomsday prepping stuff, I realized like it's one of those things. Is like it's extreme. If the extreme happens, then those skills would be beneficial. But if the extremes don't happen, at least it'd be a fun experience. But I realized that normal life, like if you never get to that doomsday prep scenario, well, I wanted to kind of like maybe document how people can survive living in New Hampshire regardless of doomsday. How do they get through day-to-day life? How do they even survive life until they get to that doomsday era? And some people might be interested in the doomsday stuff, some people might not be. For the people who aren't interested in doomsday stuff, if you're still here at this point, you'll focus, it'll be a whole playlist for just the daily life stuff, and then that'll keep separate in a separate playlist from the doomsday stuff. Alright, so for the doomsday stuff, and I should probably just change it because I know YouTube's kind of particular about like swearing. I don't really know. I don't know how that works. Not monetized at this point, so I really don't have to worry about that, but if for some reason I ever do, it'd be cool. To try to maybe just avoid doing the SHTF. So doomsday stuff, kind of going to be broken into two areas to start. And because when I really sit in there and analyze and watch some of these other doomsday prepping um, videos on YouTube, I love a lot of them, but a lot of them will also focus on tools like gadgets and stuff, which is fantastic. But if that gadget that you've been relying on breaks, then you'll have to find another way of surviving without it, and that's where that the base camp idea would come in. Uh, you wouldn't. I would find the skills and options to do certain things that are required without relying on a tool that I bought online. Um, Tools would be great as long as they last, and that's kind of where that get home option would come in. I would look at tools and kind of look at them as either daily carry, so that would fall into the daily life thing, probably closer to the prepping thing because most people in daily life aren't going to be interested in. Well, I say that maybe they are, but daily life survival, carrying a knife on you, what knives are good, carrying different tools on you. If you're in a certain field, what tools are good or not bad or whatever. But I'm still interested in looking at a lot of gadgets because I spend a lot of time online looking at those. They may get broken into more areas later. For example, looking at tools and stuff like that, and maybe just doing basic reviews. They might again fall into that. What I'm thinking right now, we'll see how if they ever get out of hand, is they'd fall into that get home because get home in a doomsday scenario should only take a couple days, and you only need those tools to work once. And if they break after that, then that's really not like a non-issue if you've got the skills for your base camp away from those tools. And as I explore how to do these things, because I've just watched videos, I haven't really done things. I want to explore like how to make filters for water, how to sanitize your water, how to get food around here, salt, not a salt, but salt like the food, well, mineral. Um, but I'm going to explore those things. Those are just some of the videos I've been watching. Explore the 3 minute or the 3 rules with the 3 minutes of air, 3 days of water, 3 weeks of food thing to break down exactly what those numbers are. Because a lot of people always say those numbers, but then when you really look at like 3 days of no water, what's the minimum amount of water you need each day to get through beyond that? And what day would those with 0 water, absolutely no water, how long would you actually last? Because usually the 3 days is like you're dead. So in the second day, are you delirious? Are you passed out? So really, like, what are the upper maxes of those? And again, very numbers oriented. I like digging into the details of things. And again, just kind of show the journey, show the details, show the troubles that I've come across, what injuries may have occurred, whatever. I always say she doesn't want me getting hurt. I should be fine, hun. But the idea is to avoid it. For the daily life videos, for anybody who's not interested in Doomsday stuff, and if you're still around, I want to kind of look at like why it's important. That kind of comes back full circle to what I said earlier. 99.9% of the prepper stuff is never ever going to be important if there isn't a scenario where we ever use it. And that's hopefully the idea, is you never ever have to use any of those skills, any of those preps or whatever. But kind of, I'll probably weave a little bit of that in it because most people should have at least a couple days worth of preps, and that's just for normal day life. Like the other day, we lost power and heat for 2 days. And if we didn't have food, if we didn't have candles, if we didn't have flashlights or any kind of foods to prepare, or we had a gas stove because we go camping a lot, so if we didn't have that gas stove and gas stored, we wouldn't have been able to cook food. So a little bit of that might fall in. I'm going to, again, try to keep them very separate as far as doomsday prepping versus generic, like this is kind of important for an emergency prepping. But it's mostly going to focus on day in, day out, what do you need to do to survive? A lot of it's going to be financially. Um, I do plan on making a spreadsheet people can use with drop downs, and they can enter their own salaries, and it'll pre-adjust. The idea is that it would adjust for tax rates and a whole bunch of other information to really break down, like, okay, I'm spending, like, I spend this much on rent. How much money do I have left? Where am I spending all my money? Why am I going broke? Um, and what options you'd have if for some reason you are going broke. Maybe you are going in debt, $500 a month. Um, Exploring options out of that area. Uh, Example being like your part-time job or something. Maybe you're 30 years old, 40 years old, you're working a part-time job. Some life event just happened and you're on your own. What are your options to get out of that part-time position? What is your options out of that $10 an hour job, minimum wage job? Getting into fields that really pay $20 to $30 an hour, making you $60,000 a year, and getting yourself out of that hole. And what's the shortest path to those? And that's the idea, because I've gone through 4 or 5 years of college at this point, and when I look back at it, like, there was a much quicker path I could have taken because I do IT. So I would want to kind of delve into what are some of the career paths you can take. If you want to make a quick $20 an hour, just increase your wage $10 an hour. Going into, I believe, like nurse technicians, like technicians who run like the blood machines or just run like the X-ray machines and stuff like that. I I apologize to anybody if they are one, but from my understanding, they are fairly simple to get for certifications, and they pay fairly well. But again, kind of idea is to look at those, analyze exactly what your options are to get a better life. And again, daily life stuff is supposed to be for anyone. Again, it's going to be focused primarily in New Hampshire and what the rules, regulations, and requirements are for here. But some of the financial stuff, like the spreadsheet specifically, could probably be used for any state. Taxes in New Hampshire are non-existent unless you have like tax on your home, or if you buy food when you eat out. But if you're going to California, the state taxes on everything, so that could skew some of the information on that spreadsheet. But again, kind of pick and choose and just get a general idea. Do I have any more slides? Okay, so that's my last slide. That's going to be the idea of the channel. If anybody's still around, then thank you. And I'll be trying to make videos, I don't know, probably a good goal would be bi-weekly. I've tried to do weekly before, and I'm usually just kind of like meh. But I also want to make quality videos where I actually analyze data and pull numbers and not just kind of give you nothing to work on. So I'm going to stop the video here, and if anybody wants to comment below, if they have interests that they want to see first, let me know. I'm probably going to start with the spreadsheet first, mostly because I could use it for myself as well. And eventually, for the Doomsday Prepper people, I'm going to be looking at the first rule of 3 for the 3 days of water. So actually, second rule, because 3 hours without oxygen, 3 minutes without oxygen. Excuse me, 3 minutes without air. That one's pretty straightforward. If you stop breathing, you're dead. I might circle back to that later because you could have an emergency situation where you're choking. But yeah. Anyways, have a good one, YouTube.